This is a Film Stories original podcast.
Love this podcast? Support this show through the Acast supporter feature. It's up to you how much you give, and there's no regular commitment. Just hit the link in the show description to support now.
Hey, I'm Ryan Reynolds. At Mint Mobile, we like to do the opposite of what Big Wireless does. They charge you a lot, we charge you a little. So naturally, when they announced they'd be raising their prices due to inflation, we decided to deflate our prices due to not hating you. That's right. We're cutting the price of Mint Unlimited from $30 a month to just $15 a month. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can find options that fit your budget and potentially lower your bills. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
Need a holiday gift that will keep her sparkling all year long? Blue Nile, the original online jeweler, has experts on hand 24/7 who can help you find the perfect piece. Beyond that, Blue Nile makes the gifting experience easier than ever, with guaranteed free shipping and returns, as well as a wide assortment of jewelry of the highest quality at the best price. Right now, get 30% off jewelry at BlueNile.com. That's BlueNile.com for 30% off. BlueNile.com.
This is Writers on Film, the only podcast dedicated to books on cinema. Hello everybody and welcome to Writers on Film. My name is John Bleasdale and today we are doing the final report from the 81st Venice Film Festival. I am joined once more by the wonderful David Moriquand.
Wonderful. You and your words. Hello, John.
We've got to know each other. We've known each other for a long time, but it feels like we've done these podcasts quite regularly for this particular festival. It's been a joy.
It has been a joy for me too.
And also Amber Bryce, and we've just got to know you for the first time, so that's been another type of joy, another flavour of joy.
Yes, it's been great. My very first Venice Film Festival, and I feel honoured again to be on a podcast already.
So we kind of have gone our separate ways in terms of the film programme. I've had a lot of writing to do, a lot of work to do, and it's often a film festival sort of phrase towards the end. So we're going to talk about films that we haven't necessarily all seen, and I've seen a film that David and Amber hasn't seen, and they've seen films that I haven't seen. So we're going to split it up like that, and then we're going to talk about highlights and lowlights of the festival and do a general roundup. So first of all, I'd like to ask David and Amber, what did they see? Did you see a competition film yesterday?
We did. We saw a film called April.
Okay, and what was it? Give me the lowdown.
Okay, so we are essentially following a gynecologist called Nina, who is illegally performing abortions in rural Georgia, and the film opens with a birth that goes wrong, and that leads to her being questioned about that and her professionalism and conduct, and also these rumours that she is conducting these illegal abortions. And we are mostly, following in both sort of inside her experiences, but also outside of it, and very, very visually compelling film, unlike anything that I've ever seen before.
It's a really serious subject by the sound of it as well. How is it handled? Is it handled very seriously? Is it is it a difficult watch, I guess is what I'm trying to say?
It is a very difficult watch, yes. I think it's handled very, very well. It's handled very viscerally. the imagery is very tactile, and it sort of moves between natural elements of heavy rain and mud and sludge and fields and highways, and then it moves into sort of more abstract imagery of bodies, and it's and then also very from that to very clinical settings. It never gives you any respite. A lot of the shots are very long and still, and you have this glaring surgical whiteness in some of the shots, and you're just sort of forced to sit in it. So I thought it was handled very well, because not only an exploration of the topic of abortion, but also of just like I felt like the female experience, and being a woman, like in particular Nina's experiences of trying to help people in a situation where she feels also quite powerless to help people, and is obviously she's told at one point from one of her colleagues, "You're a murderer," and at the same time we also experience the conflicts in her personality. She cruises around sleeping with random men, and she's also feels like a detachment she has from herself. She's very austere, and in herself she's kind of it's like she can't, despite being so empathetic and wanting to help other people, she's struggling to empathize with herself and connect with herself.
Yeah, and I'm glad Amber took the lead on this one, because we saw it together, and it's one of those films, like genuinely, I don't think I've seen anything like it in this year's competition, but it's also a remarkable achievement because it's the second film by Georgian director Dea Kulumbingashvili, and she directed a film called Beginning, which won in Locarno, and it is a genuinely stunning achievement, not only visually but just as the way it kind of really grabs you. And it's a very hard film to talk about, and I think Amber's done an incredible job in that respect, because I was left speechless by this. I came out just a little bit shell-shocked, not because what I'd witnessed was particularly, I mean, it's harrowing, it's difficult, it's a very, very important and very vital subject matter to be talking about, but also just the way it's done with a certain level of oniric, kind of dreamlike kind of atmosphere is incredibly brave, and I'd be very, very surprised if this left the festival empty-handed.
Yeah, I really wish I'd seen that now.
Yeah, I mean, it's again, unlike anything that's been in competition so far. I wouldn't be surprised if the jury had any sense best director, because there's something about this film, specifically its use of negative space. There are these frames, and Amber and I were talking about this earlier on, like very empty. There are these slow pans, but there's also this, for lack of a better word, wobbliness sometimes to the frame. It's very destabilizing, and it's really a hard one to talk about. It's a film you experience, as cliched as that sounds.
It's sort of like an immersive experience rather than just a sort of socialist document.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it feels quite fitting today because it's pouring down with rain in Venice, that actually that's how it made me feel watching it, being closed in by storm or rain, and this very sort of, it forces you to kind of sit. If you've ever had that feeling where you wake up in the middle of the night at 4 a.m. and you become very aware of the heaviness of the silence of the world and your own body, your like heartbeat, and we can hear Nina's breathing a lot in the background of scenes, and that's very much how it made me feel, sort of very like everything had been silenced, and I was forced to sort of sit in these quite uncomfortable scenarios and come to terms with it. But it's a hard one. Me and David were sort of talking again about how it's quite hard maybe to recommend to other people, because I think it will divide people. I did see some walkouts, some people leaving, but I really, really liked it.
I've not seen many walkouts this year in terms of like, yeah, obviously people walk out because they might have an interview, or they might have some other, sometimes you pop in to see the first half hour of film. We've all done it. A festival is a workplace as well as somewhere we come to enjoy cinema. But this festival hasn't had any sort of performative walkouts or you know what I mean?
Right, and even with regards to booing and cheering, like there's been some clapping, there's been a fair bit of that, but I haven't heard that much in general. It's been quite a well-behaved edition on the whole.
Yeah, I do like a little bit of booing every now and again. Here's a question, and maybe we'll leave that for the end. Remind me, and I'll come back to it. But ovations and the timing thereof. Let's leave that till later. But you saw another film this morning, David. Do you want to start with this one?
Absolutely. It's called Stranger Eyes by Siu Hao Yo. Which is the first Singaporean film ever in competition. And it's... To give it a log line is a little bit misleading because it when I read about it, it gave me a mix between potentially Michael Haneke's Cachet and elements of Lost Highway by Lynch, purely because it focuses on a couple whose baby daughter goes missing. And kidnapped, dead, we don't know. People are suggesting kidnapped, so they're flying with their parents, trying to find this daughter. And suddenly DVDs start appearing at their door. And these DVDs show their intimacy. They're being filmed from afar, whether they're in a supermarket, whether they're on their balcony and things like that, and it gets a little bit deeper than that. And essentially it becomes this kind of mystery about where do these DVDs come from? And strangely enough, I went into this thinking this is going to be a thriller, it's going to be really kind of... And it completely wrong-foots the audience because after the first third, you know exactly who's doing it. You know who the person is who's filming them. You follow them, so there's no great mystery to it. And then it goes into another direction, which is, I found quite interesting and a little bit destabilizing, not necessarily always in a good way, but you follow the stalker, essentially, and it is about voyeurism, about seeing, about being seen, and how that makes a person feel, not only the person who is the voyeur, but the people who are subject to that gaze, and how it can be both a negative and sometimes an empowering force to be seen in a certain light, and what that does to a person. And then in the third act of the film, it all comes rather beautifully together to tell the story about parenthood. And it's, like I said, very destabilizing because it really does sell you on being one thing, and it takes these very audacious swerves. And I wouldn't say it's one of my favourite films of the festival by far, but it's definitely audacious and it has the conviction of its beliefs. Unlike certain films I've seen at this festival, Joker, but at the same... Sorry.
Disagree.
You're probably right. And I think this one had a lot going for it. I don't know what its audience will be. It's hard to say if it's going to get a major international release, but very interesting that this was in competition and very well realised to the extent that it does everything it sets out to do and has a surprise factor to it.
Amber?
Yeah, I quite enjoyed this one, actually. That could be in part because I do love anything set in supermarkets or kind of, convenience stores. And there's quite a few moments where that's quite an important part to it.
You've got a letterboxed list.
You know what, John? I need to do that straight after this. So I like the look of it. I don't know if David will go this kind of hints of like Rear Window and 1 hour photo in there, and I like the ideas of it, of kind of surveying other people's lives and those questioning surveillance in our lives and how much we are surveyed and how much we're all caught on camera and what that means, and also kind of the distance between people and how sort of we can be in our own lives and actually seeing ourselves from somebody else's perspective can be conflicting because it can make us feel very uncomfortable. But at the same time, there's an addictiveness to it of actually, I think we all sort of secretly dream. I think of being John Malkovich, of like stepping into somebody else and being able to see ourselves from somebody else and not be trapped in ourselves. So I liked it for those ideas.
That sounds great. Again, it's one. What about in terms of prizes? Is there any chance of this one picking something up?
I don't think so. I think considering putting it into the context of the competition, I wouldn't be upset if it got something. Script maybe, screenplay. I think there's something there, and as Amber was saying, it was touching a lot about surveillance and social media as well, and the way that lives, even young lives, are projected and put on social media from a very early age without necessarily consent. And I don't know, I think it really does touch upon some very knotty and very topical subjects, and doesn't overplay its hand. So I think the only thing I could see there would be best screenplay.
I think also having a Singaporean film here and sort of it being a first does alleviate a little bit the feeling that I had watching the competition films this year, that everything was awfully European and white, and there was, American and white. It's not really that much colour or diversity across the board. I mean, we've had Georgia, we've had America, we've had lots of France, lots of Italian. Obviously, it's a home, you're always playing the home advantage. This way in Cannes, you get plenty of French movies. But a Nordic film. So, yeah, it's good to have a little bit. Well, it would be better to have more, to be honest. But it sounds like, at least here, we're moving in a good direction. I'm going to talk briefly about the film that you guys didn't see, which is called Russians at War, and is by, let me get my old man glasses out, Anastasia, what does that say?
Trofimova.
Trofimova. It's just written in very small writing. It's not me. It's my old man eyesight rather.
I can't do it.
Yeah, it's tiny, isn't it? It's
Trofimova.
Anastasia
Trofimova.
Yeah, who is a Russian-Canadian filmmaker. And she goes to Russia in 2023 to start filming Russian soldiers, a battalion. And she embeds with this battalion, and she goes and she films them and gets portraits of them in a sense, and you see them of all different ages. There's like 40-year-old, 50-year-olds. There are sort of former drug addicts. There are kids out of school. There are people who have joined up for patriotic reasons, people who've been drafted. There are there's even a Ukrainian who's fighting because he feels that he's been marginalized in his own country. And you follow them as they go more and more towards the front until they go into a final sort of attack with relatively poor consequences for them. This is a controversial choice. It's showing out of competition, and during the press conference, several questions were asked about whether this film was whitewashing the Russian military. And the filmmaker pushed back very hard against that. She said she didn't witness any atrocities, and she would have included anything that she saw in the film. You might argue that, well, there are arguments to be made around about that topic. Personally, my response to the film would be much more as a film in and of itself, and I found it very cliched portrait of war, albeit a documentary, but it's full of sort of somebody befriends a kitten.
Hey, I'm Ryan Reynolds. At Mint Mobile, we like to do the opposite of what Big Wireless does. They charge you a lot, we charge you a little. So naturally, when they announced they'd be raising their prices due to inflation, we decided to deflate our prices due to not hating you. That's right. We're cutting the price of Mint Unlimited from $30 a month to just $15 a month. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.
Ready to pop the question? The jewelers at BlueNile.com have got sparkle down to a science with beautiful lab-grown diamonds worthy of your most brilliant moments. Their lab-grown diamonds are independently graded and guaranteed identical to natural diamonds, and they're ready to ship to your door. Go to BlueNile.com and use promo code LISTEN to get $50 off your purchase of $500 or more. That's code LISTEN at BlueNile.com for $50 off. BlueNile.com, code LISTEN.
I think there is, and even in terms of the whitewashing accusations, we are watching soldiers in performing duties which do not involve acts of aggression and violence. They're collecting the wounded, they're collecting the dead, they're performing duties like dropping off charity parcels to old babushkas in bombed out villages. And they're the victims of violence. When they attack, they're roundly defeated, and they're victims to some degree of their own incompetence as well. One of them accidentally drops a grenade on himself from a drone. And I do feel that partiality is there. I think there is a valid argument, but beyond the partiality is just the simple fact that it very much looked like tired, cliched war porn to me. And even the filmmaker herself, who includes herself in the documentary in a sort of like, we're going here and we're going there, and the commander doesn't know I'm here, and her story is part of that. Giving it in a voiceover felt a little bit like it was unaware or lacking in self-interrogation. And I've seen so many films recently, documentaries recently, that have come from the Ukrainian side, which have actually challenged how film documentaries are made. One very strong contender was a film called Real, which showed it Carlo Vivari, and which was essentially a B-roll of someone who just happened to leave his GoPro on, and filmed the entirety, 90 minutes, until the film ran out or the card was full, of them being pinned down under fire. And in its utter crude nakedness, they didn't know the camera was on. You had this real picture of not necessarily what's going on, or because it's only a very short moment in a very long war, but just the fact of releasing that felt to me it had much more bravery and much more interest involved in the idea of what a war documentary can and should be.
That's interesting. I'd be interested in seeing that. But what was the name of this one, the GoPro one that you mentioned?
Real.
Okay, I'll have to look that up. I haven't seen it.
Yeah. It's, there's an argument that it's not, properly speaking, a film, because there's no one behind the camera, there's no one directing it, there's no one. The audio is just what you hear. It's just basically a live camera and a live mic. But in a sense, that's what we watch on YouTube all the time, people having car accidents, being captured by traffic cameras or GoPros on motorcycles. Yeah. So in a sense, it's an extension of that. And it's more to do with the presentation of it in a major film festival, which makes it into a work of art rather than any artistry. It's the lack of artistry which makes it into a statement, whereas this has the fingerprints and manipulation all over it. It's obviously edited it's heavily edited, it's got a voiceover, the shots have been framed, the sunsets have been captured, there are straight-to-camera interviews, and there's even like a marriage proposal where the camera person's sort of hidden in a corner in order to capture it. And it feels a little bit to me manipulative. I think the acid test here is, if I swapped the flags round, would I think, is this a piece of propaganda? And I think in all fairness, I would. I think I would watch this. There was a Ukrainian documentary 3 or 4 years ago, before the war, called Trenches.
Yes.
And I remember thinking, this is really just propaganda, as much as I might side with a certain side. Again, this is before the Russian invasion, so my knowledge of it was much less acute, or much less. I was much less aware of it. But I think, it's. I think I could look at that and say, yeah, this is just propaganda, whether I agree with it or not. So I'm willing to sort of stand by my judgment of this film as well. You know, I've just written a review of it, and I sort of put at the top, you know, to what extent can we trust ourselves when we're looking at something which is about an ongoing conflict, you know? And you know, you do feel odd that, you know, you're looking at people being wounded and hurt. And if this film has value, and I do think it has some value, it is definitely in humanizing people who we are not seeing as human beings. We're seeing as the enemy, or we're seeing as a faceless mass of people who, you know, just shapes on a map. I think that is an important thing. And someone did ask a question about, is it right to humanize the Russians? And it's like, well, that's a ridiculous question. Right. You don't humanize human beings, they're human. You know, you dehumanize people. Yeah. And that's, you know, when you flip the question, it becomes obvious, you know. Okay. Let's get on to sort of a roundup of the festival and sort of highlights and lowlights. So, Amber, what do you think? You came a little bit later on than us, but what have been your highlights of the festival? And this can be films, but it can also be general experiences.
So, yeah, I haven't obviously seen anywhere near as much as David, but of the things that I have seen, I would say highlights include Queer, April, and there was a lot of stuff that I did like in The Room Next Door as well, because I'm a big Almodovar fan, so that was really exciting to see. I'm trying to think what else in terms of highlights. I think really probably Queer was the big one for me. For the festival experience itself, just being in this little bubble of movie fans and getting to experience it feels like a dream. It's even though today obviously it's quite a different mood here because of the weather. It just feels very special, but it does feel like I've stepped out of reality completely.
You'll come down with a bump when you arrive at home, and suddenly people are not queuing up to see, you know, Singaporean.
Well, yeah, you slip into this routine of the festival so quickly, like, you know, getting the boat in the morning and going and getting a little coffee and then going to see 2 movies and queuing and everything, and then going to write or do stuff in the press room. It's very strange how quickly you adapt to it, and you're just like, this is a good way of life actually, but it is tiring.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, the other thing about going home though means you get your shower, you get your bed, and those things are most welcome.
So
hey, come in. We're being joined by Sarah Bradbury. How are you? How has your festival been?
Well, you're asking me at the wrong moment because right now I'm a bit soggy, but mostly it's been brilliant. Thank you.
Highlight of the festival. What's the best film?
I found The Quiet Son very powerful, and I just got to interview Vincent Lindon, which was, you know, one of the French legends, and he was every bit as marvellous as I was hoping he would be. So
really,
yes.
Okay, because he's my bête noire. I've interviewed him twice, and I'm sorry, he's been nothing but an absolute nightmare to me. But I know that we have very different experiences with French creatives, because you like Vincent Lindon. I had a great time with Juliette Ducournau, and you did not have a good time.
I can't even believe you're bringing it up.
I'm sorry.
Nobody listens to this, so you're fine.
No, he was really great, and he made some quite candid comments as well about how he thinks the industry is changing and how pointless most junket interviews are, and he really spoke sort of beyond just the film, which I think is quite refreshing in this day and age, or particularly at this moment in time. There's a lot of complaints, isn't there, about how much access we're getting at the film festivals, so I felt like he kind of gave us an honest answer to some of those things.
Most disappointing film?
I only watched 5 minutes of April yesterday, so you can take from that what you will.
You were one of the walkouts. Okay, yeah.
It was just probably a bit late in the evening for me, and it was very intense. I'm sure there's lots of incredibly important subject matter to be delved into, but it wasn't quite the right moment for me to get into it. So I'll have to give that one another try at another festival.
Yeah, or when it comes on Mubi or wherever you'll find it next. Okay, thanks, Sarah. David?
Highlights, I think The Brutalist is still up there. Like Amber, I really enjoyed Queer and Bite Your Lip, Sarah. And what was April as well. And I totally see what Sarah was saying about that, but it really, really worked for me. And Room Next Door, I have to admit, just it is like the usual candidates. There's not been like a major surprise this year for me. And Lowlight's Joker, Folie à Deux. I know I'm wrong, John. I really do. That and a lot of the French films, actually, I found very kind of middling at best. But yeah.
Eminently missable.
Yes, absolutely. Like, cute. They were cute.
Lots of people kept saying to me, and some of these people were French, very French. I'd say, what's the new French film like that's playing tomorrow? And they're like, oh, it's very French. So that's sort of become a category of criticism. You didn't like Queer?
Oh, no, I didn't see it. I don't even know what that comment was about.
No, because I thought if I was saying, I had a really, really good time with Queer, that you were going to make some sort of double entendre or something like that. Or I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to expect. You've arrived. It's like an absolute tornado. I'm sweating. I don't know. Like, it's very unsettling.
We can see, I wasn't a fan of Queer, to tell you the truth. I think that's probably one of my lowlights of the festival. I just found Danny Craig... I just don't think he's a good actor.
Oh, how dare you?
Yeah, no, really? Shots fired. I think he's the typical James Bond. He's a really good James Bond actor, because James Bond actors shouldn't be good actors. Because if they're good actors, they should go off and do acting. And James Bond is more of an athletic role. The exception to that is the first James Bond, Sean Connery.
Have you seen Enduring Love with Daniel Craig?
No.
Okay, well, you should, because there are a handful of Daniel Craig. I do see what you mean about Daniel Craig. I love how you call him Danny Craig, by the way. You're big mate. But basically, Layer Cake, Enduring Love, and a film called The Mother. And those three films might convert you. At least they'll be like, oh, okay, I see what you're doing. Because I'm not a huge fan of the Knives Out. I enjoy the films, but I don't think it kind of particularly stretches him, like, acting-wise. But and neither do I think that Queer is his best performance. To me, it's still Enduring Love. But yes, do check that one out.
Okay, I'm willing to be persuaded. But according to your record so far, I've not got a ton of faith. Highlights, though, to go on as something a bit more positive. Well, I loved Brutalist. I thought that was probably the highlight of the festival, the best film of the festival so far. Loved Baby Girl, which I thought was excellent. Was really sexy and funny and fun. And I think we don't get enough of that. And that's, going back to April, which I didn't see either, there is a worry I have when you're talking about it earlier, when I'm listening to it, of like, will anyone want to watch this film outside of a festival context? And it just sounds so grueling. Now, there's no reason cinema has to be always entertaining, and sure, it has to take on difficult subjects, but I sometimes think we can sometimes overvalue or a sort of subject matter which is grueling, or a way of looking at life which is grueling, as if that has some sort of automatic authenticity. They've just machine-gunned one of the critics for disagreeing with me, so be careful.
Jesus, is that it?
That's what it is. That happens quite with alarming regularity. What about prizes? I know, Amber, you said you kind of haven't seen enough to really throw a hat into the ring here.
Yeah, my knowledge of festivals, this is my first film festival ever, and so I feel like I probably won't have a great sense of what will win the prizes. But I do think, actually, I would quite like to see Daniel Craig win Best Actor. Because I think, for me, what was interesting is we've seen him in these hyper-masculine roles, so it's kind of seeing him, revert into a role that, to me, felt very, very sensitive and very... vulnerable, that I thought he played that really well. So yeah, he gets my vote for Best Actor. That's what I can contribute.
I interviewed Jake Gyllenhaal once, and I said about so and so being masculine and I opposed sensitive and masculine, and he went, "Are you saying men can't be sensitive?" And I was like, "No, I wasn't. I'm sorry," but I won't be as obnoxious as Jake. Sarah, what do you think? For prizes,
I haven't really got enough. I haven't watched enough of the big films. I don't think I've watched a lot of the smaller ones. I think my favourite performance, though, did you see Paul and Paulette Take a Bath?
No.
It's like very quirky. I think it's going to be very divisive. I don't think everyone would like it, but the actress in that plays Paulette, Marie, someone, is amazing. She just literally, it's like a really nuanced, quirky character. You don't know where it's going to go at any point, and it's because it's like, from the outside, it's like it's a rom-com or something, but then just at every turn, it completely subverts all your expectations, and her character in particular is brilliant. So that was my favourite performance.
Oh, excellent! I'm definitely going to put that down in my Letterboxd watch list.
It's very dark, though. It's like it goes to some strange places. The Guardian review was not on board, but I quite like the fact that it's, people are brave enough to do things that isn't going to please everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. Best performance? I mean, I think for women, there's quite a number of best performances. What was the name of the film? Walter Salles' film?
Yes, hold on, I'm going to look that up because it's been a while.
It's way back when. It was way back when we were young.
It is I'm Still Here.
It's called I'm Still Here. I just thought you were saying that,
John,
that you have
I'm still here.
Yeah, you've gone away.
I'm still here, don't forget about me. But the film is always... the film is also called I'm Still Here.
There you go, right.
That performance, that central performance would...
By that legendary actress...
I hate you. Because I don't have her name on top of that.
Neither do I. Fernanda... Torres.
Fernanda Torres.
Yeah. We got there without Googling it. That was impressive.
No, that could definitely be a contender. I think you like Baby Girl, I like Baby Girl. I think Nicole Kidman could potentially...
La Hupert would never vote for Nicole Kidman. Redheads, they don't... What do you think, Amber?
Well, I didn't see Baby Girl, so I can't comment on that. But I didn't know. So Isabelle Huppert, she's got a thing against redheads.
But I'm saying it's like Highlander. There can only be one.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, yeah. Okay, well.
I mean, I might be just making that up, but I think that's possibly true.
I think maybe you're onto something there. Yeah.
Let's start the rumour anyway.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, come on, Isabelle Huppert. You look at her, you think she must think, nah, Kidman's not getting anything. Or Julianne Moore,
True. And what, John? What would you give? Because I mean, I don't know. Like, say for Golden Lion or Best Director, what do you think?
I think The Brutalist would be in my top two, and Baby Girl would be somewhere there as well. I mean, if Baby Girl won for either of those top prizes, it's a woman director, and that's always good to see. But I mean, in a way, we're almost ready to drop that out of the conversation because we've had quite a few Golden Lions to women directors, and certainly a few Palme d'Ors.
Yeah, absolutely. But we're throwing a name again because we've talked about it on this podcast. Dea Kolumbikashvili, I think, for April, could potentially be Best Director. Or it could be jury prize, considering the film is very experimental. But I wouldn't be surprised there.
I just get the feeling that because you can pronounce that name, you've decided to just toss it into any part of the podcast.
I mentioned the debut film by Dea Kolumbikashvili called Beginning.
She's not even the director. I'm joking. Of course she is.
She's the gaffer.
The pronunciation is perfect. Well done, Georgian pronunciation. Absolutely. Extra points. Okay, well, listen, guys, it's been absolutely wonderful having you on the podcast. So my thanks go to you, David Moriquand.
Thank you very much, John.
You, Sarah Bradbury, who was a great sport in just being like hooked from a staircase. Yeah, and broadcast ready, perfect.
Yeah, well, it's been my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And Amber Bryce, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Great.
And we're up.
$1-800-Flowers.com knows that a gift is never just a gift. A gift is an expression of everything you feel and helps build more meaningful relationships. 1-800-Flowers takes the pressure off by helping you navigate life's important moments by making it simple to find the perfect gift. From flowers and cookies to cake and chocolate, 1-800-Flowers helps guide you in finding the right gift to say how you feel. To learn more, visit 1-800-Flowers.com/ACAST. That's 1-800-Flowers.com/ACAST.
Cue the fireplace and your favorite fall movie. There's nothing better than a cozy evening at home with a glass of First Leaf wine. First Leaf is a personalized wine club that delivers right to your door. Sounds magical, right? They get to know your favorite tasting notes, which varietals you enjoy, and whether you prefer sweet or dry wines. So in every shipment, you get bottles tailored to your unique palate. Go to tryfirstleaf.com/fall to get your first 6 wines for just $44.95 with free shipping. What makes a great pair of glasses? At Warby Parker, it's all the invisible extras without the extra cost. Their designer quality frames start at $95, including prescription lenses, plus scratch-resistant, smudge-resistant, and anti-reflective coatings, and UV protection, and free adjustments for life. To find your next pair of glasses, sunglasses, or contact lenses, or to find the Warby Parker store nearest you, head over to warbyparker.com. That's warbyparker.com.